I did a video a while back. Are cycle lanes. Quite a few people watched it, which is unusual for my videos. So I'm meeting a friend down here today, and I've been sitting about for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. There's a cycle lane there. I was listening to a podcast. I've not did any uploads in ages, and thought to myself, why not do a wee upload? So the past 10 or 15 minutes, no one has used this cycle lane. Now I'm going to put a disclaimer in. I've not got a problem with cycles. As a kid I used to use one quite a lot when I go on holiday. I love exploring cities on bicycles. But today we'll have it's going to be, I'm going to push your intellectual capacity. We're going to count cycles, and as I said, 10-15 minutes into me sitting here, nobody has used that cycle lane. Now this is quite a flat part of the city. I don't even know the name of that road. Glasgow Barrowlands is along there, and that's the wee place with the bandstand. Bridgeton, so that's Bridgeton Cross is 2 minutes away. It's nice and flat, so this is kind of optimum cycle territory, and in 10-15 minutes I've not seen anybody using it. So I know you are all cultured. Oh, there we go. Zoom in on him. He's going to be a star in the Zambo TV today. So there's one. This video's been going for 2 minutes 20 seconds, so 17 minutes we've had a guy on a bike using the cycle lane. But anyway, as we count cyclists, well, here's another guy. I may have got all this wrong. Let's zoom in. There's a guy there. Is that a cycle? It is a cycle. There's a guy there pushing a cycle along the pavement. Perhaps he's had a flat tyre, or he's just not appreciative of the council's many £million that they've spent putting in the cycle lanes. Anyway, we're going to do a double dunter today, so that's technically 2 cyclists in 17 minutes. We're going to do a double dunter today. I was watching stuff on the old Twitter. You can be a bit of a cesspit. Now you're about to become a star of Zambo television, mate. Maybe he's just wanting to push his bike so he can talk to his friends. Who knows what goes through these people's brains. But technically we'll call that 2. One of them didn't use a cycle lane. Right, so I was on old Twitter, right? David Cameron, the ex-Prime Minister of Great Britain, I think he's now the Foreign Secretary or some such. He's picked up a job through nepotism, hasn't he? He was a very slick politician. He had that very posh English public school boy, hello, accent. That's ingrained into us from the moment we are born in the UK as the voice of authority. The BBC use it, the Queen's English maybe, the BBC use it. And when we hear that, we are pre-programmed to know who our masters are. So anyway, David Cameron did an interview on TV, and I'm 100% paraphrasing here because I can't remember what the guy says, but basically the UK is sending more weapons into the Ukraine. That war's over, that's done. The Ukrainians have been smashed into a pulp. So who benefits from sending more weapons in? Well, obviously what's happened is all the stuff we've sent in has been blown up. So they're going to give British arms manufacturers more money to make more weapons to replace all the stuff that's been blown up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, so they're sending in more money. Bless her. bless her little cotton socks. They're sending in more money to... It'll never get to Ukraine. Well, it's just lining the pockets of BAE Systems, Raytheon, all the usual suspects. I said it in my videos before, that's 3 cyclists, right, okay. I've said it in my videos before, war is the ultimate racket. There is no better money-making business on the planet than a war. So Cameron went on television and says we're going to send in these long-range missiles into Ukraine. Then he put a caveat on it. He says the Ukrainians can use these missiles as they see fit. And he was intoning that meant up to and including attacking the soil of the Russian Federation. Now, when I look at British politicians, European and American politicians, then I look at Chinese and Russian politicians, I have never seen such a ridiculous mismatch in my entire life. If you look into the educations of all the Chinese and Russian politicians, these guys are all super clever, right? Not only that, a lot of them have been in the military. I've never heard Vladimir Putin bluff about anything in the 20 odd years that I've followed what the guy's got up to. And if you look at what he's done for Russia, in 1990 the country was bankrupt. It was the best performing economy in Europe last year. Russia is awash with money, China is awash with money. It turns out Russian and Chinese capitalists are actually capitalists, and they're better at capitalism than European politicians. Where was it? Right, so Cameron went on a video sending these long range weapons. The Ukrainians can attack Russia if they want to, blah 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 blah, right? Then the Russians did 2 things. Thing number 1, Emmanuel Macron, who's just he worked for it was either Rothschilds or another banking company. Then Rishi Sunak in the UK, he's an ex-banker as well. What's going on there? Got to ask yourself, haven't you? Prior to dwarf bankers running two of the most powerful economies in the UK. Anyway, David Cameron says we can use these missiles to attack Russia. The Russians put their non-ICBM, I wouldn't even know what you call it, the non-strategic nuclear weapons forces on high alert and got them to practice missions and training missions. Right? That should scare the bejesus out of anybody that has half a brain. Then they called the British and French ambassador in to have a talk with the Russian Foreign Ministry. I would love to have been a fly in the wall at that interview. So Cameron says send these missiles in. Macron says we're going to send French troops in. The ambassadors were called in. Russia started practicing with its nuclear weapons. We can only guess what was said to the ambassadors. I would imagine they pulled out maps, showed the ambassadors where their families lived in France and England, and said that's the first place we're going to hit. Yeah, I mean, it's all getting a bit bonkers. Then, further along that way, is Faslane and Coolport. I think the only reason the Russians wouldn't take out their adversary's largest nuclear weapons stockpile in Europe is because Faslane and Coolport are so close to Ireland, and the damage they would actually accidentally do to a country that's neutral would get them a bit of bad press. So anyway, David Cameron, throw him in the bin. Somebody shut that, I was going to swear there. Somebody shut that clown up. These people have these education systems, they think they are clever, but trust me, they are absolute idiots. They don't know how to read the room, they don't know when they're outboxed, outmatched, outclassed. They have a sense of confidence because they know what forks and spoons to use at posh meals, and they speak with a hello mad British accent. So David Cameron more or less made Britain a target for Russian nuclear weapons. Not that we weren't already, But as I say, if the Russian Foreign Ministry start calling in British and French ambassadors, it's time to get new ambassadors or have a real think about the policies. The weapons manufacturers are lining the pockets. The government are lining the pockets of the weapons manufacturers. How many people in the government have shares in weapons manufacturers? That's a big question, isn't it? If I knew how to do it, I would do it. If anybody in the comment section knows how to do it, do it. But it seems to be a revolving door between bankers, weapon manufacturers and oil companies. They'll become politicians and get jobs in banks, weapons manufacturers and oil companies. Right, I'm going to hang up here. So that's the video's 10 minutes, 44 seconds. I was sitting here for about 15 minutes beforehand, so in 25 minutes we've seen 3 cyclists using the cycle lanes. One of them pushed his bike on the thing that isn't the cycle lane, but as we've seen, it's possible talking to his friends. And the UK is in some nick, isn't it? We are governed by absolute maniacs, and it looks to me again as if they're doing exactly what America tells them to do. And if you look at the state America's in, and Joe Biden, imagine throwing yourself down the toilet pan for Joe Biden, right? Just as I was about to hook up, just as I was about to hang up. Check this out. I don't want this guy thinking that I'm filming him, so I'll pan away until I can't see me again. Pushing bikes seems to be more popular in Scotland than actually riding, right? So, thank you all for watching. Bye.